Hi, my name is Julia and this is a short clip about diversity. Nowadays, diversity is an important keyword that you read and hear about in the media on a daily basis. Before the onset of the so-called European refugee crisis, it was mainly about how companies can profit from the diversity that their employees bring. During the last years, however, the public discussion has shifted towards the social challenges that go along with diversity, especially cultural diversity. And I, like many others, started to think about the diversity we face on a daily basis. How diverse is my family? Or what about my friends? But one thing was clear for me. My workplace is diverse. It was actually its diversity that attracted me to my workplace. So these days I came up with the idea of finding out how diverse my workplace actually is. And the result is this short video, which gives the diversity profile of the Vienna Institute for International Economic Studies. I start off with my institute's demographic profile. We are slightly more women than men working at the institute. 3 people did not respond to this survey, of which 2 were men, so answers are slightly biased towards my female colleagues. The youngest ones of us, both currently sitting in my office, me included, were born in 1988. Our seniors were born in 1945. The greatest age group is the one for colleagues currently in their 30s, while the mean age is 46 years. On average, we have 0.9 children and 1.3 siblings. Now, how long have my colleagues been working at the Institute up to now? About half of them have been employed for less than 10 years, another 12 people have been employed for more than 10 and up to 20 years. I was really impressed to learn that we even have colleagues who have been working for the Institute for more than 20 years. But hold on, we don't stop here. 5 colleagues have been working here for more than 30 years. 2 of them for even amazingly 40 years. Me and my colleagues were born in 11 different countries, which is a lot for an institute with only 43 employees. And although the number of colleagues being Austrian nationals is higher than the number of people actually born in Austria, we represent 12 nationalities, as some of us represent multiple nationalities. But figures on the languages are even more impressive. 13 different languages were stated as being their mother tongues, representing Western, Central and Eastern European languages, plus Persian. Another 14 languages were mentioned as second, third, fourth or even fifth language, led by English, French and German, followed by Southern and Eastern European languages, as well as Afrikaans and Hebrew. But cultural diversity is much more than just the countries in which you were born or the languages you speak. It's about your traditions, beliefs and behaviors. Among others, it's about religion, arts, food and hobbies. I'm sure that if I had asked my colleagues about their favorite music style, I would have ended up with at least 20 different ones. So I restricted their possible options to only 4. Out of these, 15% would choose pop music, another 35% would go for classical music. I personally am pretty happy that none of us opted for hip-hop, while rock music was a favorite option for 45% of my colleagues. 5% were so unhappy though with these options that they preferred not to choose any, while making notes, for example, that electronic music, jazz or salsa would have been great options, and of course I do agree. 45% of us do play at least 1 and up to 3 instruments. Overall, we play 11 different instruments, including popular instruments such as the piano or the guitar, but also others that would, I'm sure, allow us to set up a classical ensemble, a jazz band and a traditional popular music group. Regarding sports, water sports and gymnastics are equally popular among my colleagues. More people, however, prefer mountain sports, but ball sports did get by far the highest number of votes. If my colleagues were to choose between a vegan dish, a vegetarian dish, fish, no, not a bear, or meat, only 3% would go for the vegan dish, but 25% for the vegetarian. 32% would like to enjoy fish, while 40% would prefer meat. Interestingly, although many like eating fish, none would opt for Northern European food, colored in light blue in the map. 8% chose Eastern European food. 25% prefer Central European food, including Austrian food. but the majority, with 67%, prefers Southern European food. Meals are usually complemented by drinks. About a quarter of people would choose to drink a beer. Surprisingly, none of them chose the option of having a Coke. It was a very close race between wine with 35% and the winner, water, with 38%. So having found out what my colleagues like to eat and drink, it was time to ask what they like to do in their spare time. The question was which holiday type they would prefer. The options of having a cultural holiday or spending a holiday on a beach were equally popular. The minority prefers to spend holidays at home, while the majority, with 53%, would prefer active holiday. I also asked about which genre they would prefer, without indicating whether I'm talking about books or movies. Only 8% would choose a drama. 23% prefer the genre thriller. The guy to the upper left should actually look funny, representing the comedy genre, which 27% of my colleagues chose. But surprisingly, 42% opted for documentaries and nonfiction. Finally, I also asked people about their beliefs. I did not ask about their religion, but about whether they feel themselves belonging to one out of 6 religious communities, to some other not stated religious community, or to none. They also had the option to tell me that it was none of my business, but no colleague did so. 20% of my colleagues considered themselves as belonging to the Roman Catholic community. All other stated communities, including the Orthodox, Jewish, Muslim community, as well as those considering themselves, for example, as agnostics, accounted for 12%. 22% stated to be atheists, but 45% stated that they did neither belong to any religious community nor to the atheist community. Also physically, we differ. For example, 35% of us have brownish eyes, 32% bluish ones. 20% report to have greenish eyes and 13% grayish. One point where we are really not diverse is handedness. Only one of our colleagues is left-handed, but that's just a side remark. So we also differ in our looks, but also in our appearance, with 27% being too shy to allow pictures of their faces to be shown in this clip. To sum up, this one-page, 2 minutes per person survey showed that there is a great diversity at my workplace, in what we like to eat or love to do, in how we look like and how we act, in what we think and what we believe. And I personally think that's great.